transfer from Liverpool to break the box office records. At the moment, the main agenda item in Liverpool is reinforcements to the midfield. The club continues its activities in a planned manner and negotiations with midfield candidates continue. However, Liverpool will not only be adding midfield reinforcements this summer. At the same time, transfer to the defensive line is considered. The area where the Reds are best stocked is the forward line. Darwin Núñez joined the team last summer and Cody Gakpo in January. Also this summer, Firmino parted ways. But Liverpool haven't gotten exactly what they wanted from Darwin Núñez. If the Uruguayan player is sold, the Reds want to include the star player, who marked the season in Italy Serie A, into the team this year. Journalist Sasha Tavalieri confirmed that the Reds will hold a meeting with Victor Osimhen's representatives next week. Victor Osimhen has given an outstanding performance this season and has definitely made a name for himself. The current Napoli striker has been in glowing form throughout the last campaign, helping to steer his side to a Serie A victory. This was the player's first title since moving to Italy, and it played a big part in that victory as well. The offensive player, who made a name for himself with only 30 games in the league, managed to hit the back of the net 26 times and made 4 assists on the way. This means that Osimhen averages 1 goal or assist per 90 minutes. So every time he plays a match, he's guaranteed to do one or the other. When you compare him to his position among the men's top 5 major leagues in Europe, he currently stands out as arguably one of the most clinical finishers. For example, his penalty-free goal rate of 0.9 places him in the top 1% in this category. The overall penalty-free goal expectation and assist expectation ratio is 0.8. This rate also places him in the top 6% in this category. This data shows that he has one of the best abilities to hit the ball behind the net in Europe. It's also a fact that he offers his teammates the best options on the way to goals. So it's no surprise that there is an interest in their services. A recent report suggests Premier League team Chelsea are still considering a deal for the player, but they may have to save up to £100 million or more to sign the player. Now, according to an update from Tavalieri, there are 3 teams booked to speak with Osimhen's entourage next week, and one of the teams planning talks is Liverpool. The report states that the Reds and, by extension, new sporting director, George Schmadtke, preparing to talk about the player next week, and that the sides' intentions will be defined. Chelsea and Manchester United are also in talks about the striker. The player had an excellent 2022-2023 season when you consider both his stats and the way he impacted viewers. Football journalist Josh Bunting, for example, described Osimhen as fatal based on his performance and scoring this season. How productive the attacker is in front of the goal has already been revealed with his performance this season. If what Liverpool want to plan comes true, the quality of the team will really improve. Rather than waiting for Núñez to develop, it seems much more logical to go to the goal with a full-pack player like Osimhen. Moreover, both players are 24 years old and have long careers to develop. But the potential promised by Osimhen is much greater. An athletic player who likes to grapple with rival defenders in a tough defensive league like Serie A will definitely rise to another level on Klopp's team. Kostas Tsimikas knows the ideal Virgil van Dijk air. Change is inevitable in football, as in all areas of life. Already Jürgen Klopp's Liverpool side has gone through quite the transition this summer, saying goodbye to club icons like James Milner and Roberto Firmino. But there will be more on the horizon soon, and one of the biggest question marks for Liverpool to resolve this will be the successor of Virgil van Dijk. The Dutchman established himself as one of the best defenders in the world at the height of his career. Replacing him with a player who can dominate the opposing attackers will not be easy. This is getting much more challenging, especially given the lack of funds at Anfield. This will give Klopp less resources to spend on the right island than teams like Chelsea, Manchester City or Newcastle United. Instead, Liverpool will have to look to the example of teams like Napoli that have run with relatively poor funding but have had a lot of success with smart recruiting. Recently Napoli have replaced Kim Min-jae, who comes from the Turkish market, a much smaller and less active league outside of the top 5 leagues, and Kalidou Koulibaly, whose form is considered quite effectively unrepeatable. Kim Min-jae's example could pave the way for Liverpool to do a similar experiment. However, instead of Turkey, the club is looking to Van Dijk's ideal future heir in Greece. There's an interesting centre-back candidate at PAC that could be an under-the-radar gem that Liverpool can get on the cheap. Konstantinos Kouliarakis, Kostas Tsimikas' teammate for the Greek national team, is a player Liverpool has in mind. He is already a regular in PAC despite being only 19 years old. He's a left-handed defender who is comfortable on the ball and relatively fast in terms of recovery, averaging 61 passes per 90 minutes according to Wiscout. Like Van Dijk, Kouliarakis is strong in the air and has an overwhelming advantage over his opponents. For the aerial duels he has won, he is in the top 5 among centre-backs in the league, winning 74% of the aerials. This is proof that you have a very solid stance. Kouliarakis, who is still very raw and has not yet played in a European competition, is of course not yet ready to step into the role of Van Dijk. But as he develops and progresses as a football player in the years to come, he may emerge as an ideal candidate. That's why Liverpool follow the player's development and progress very closely. According to the information transferred, the young player is currently attracting the attention of Fenerbahce from Turkey. If Fenerbahce makes an early move for the player, Kouliarakis can be seen following in Kim Min-jae's footsteps. This gives Liverpool more assurance that they will be an ideal candidate to replace Van Dijk at Anfield in the future, maintaining a high level of performance in Turkey as well. A Sky Sports reporter said Liverpool were trying to sign the £40 million man alongside Thuram. Liverpool are looking to add a number of new players to the ranks this summer to return to the top for next season. The Reds moved quickly to sign Alexis Mac Allister, and she's also linking up with a host of other names. News this morning suggested that Kefren Thuram would be the next midfielder to come. Thuram, however, may not be the only other player to come. A Sky Sports Florian Plettenberg claims talks are also in talks with Spanish sensation Gabri Veiga. Of course, we know that Liverpool's interest in Veiga is nothing new. The young man is a wanted man in Europe and the Reds have already shown their interest in him. Plettenberg confirmed that talks have taken place between Liverpool and Veiga. Considered an incredible talent in Spain, Veiga is on the radar of many of Europe's top clubs. But for the Spanish star with a £40 million release clause, Liverpool are still negotiating to lower the price this summer. If Liverpool manages to sign all three of Mac Allister, Thuram and then Veiga, they will almost complete their midfield reinforcement. Yes, two of these three have something to prove in the Premier League. But overall, they will be three good signings for Jürgen Klopp. The news of Thuram's potential arrival has got Reds fans very excited. But Veiga offers another player profile in Anfield that they will love. If they can actually win the race here, then the Reds will be well set for the future.